सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We started our study of Mundaka Upanishad, the second Mundaka, section 2, and this second Mundaka, section 2, is very important in terms now that this Brahma Vidya Abhyas sadhana starts. The knowledge of the self, even though the self is ever attained, yet it is as though it is unattained. And even though I am the self, and even though the whole manifested reality in front of me is none other than my own expression, not as an ahankar, but as a matter of fact from the absolute standpoint, that there is only this absolute truth, but that is not our experience because of the equipment which creates a vision of duality, a faulty vision of duality, because of some inherent tendencies which are just projected. Anadikal, it has started, and that projection is what I have at this point in time owned up. Intellectual understanding may arrive that sarvam khaluidam brahma, that everything is Brahman, but it is not our sakshat aparoksha anubhuti. Sakshat aparoksha anubhuti means knowledge which is not dependent upon the instrument of knowing. When I say I know the book via the equipment of the senses. The eyes have to function. The buddhi, mana, buddhi has to function. But when I know the self, it is not the equipment which allows me to know. It is my own presence which is known to myself without any equipment of knowing, and that is aparoksha anubhuti. It is beyond somebody else's knowledge or beyond mediated knowledge. Paroksha jnana is mediated knowledge. It is arriving through some equipment. So this knowledge over here, which is the subject matter of this entire Upanishad, avihi sannihitam guhacharannam mahatpadam atra etat samarpitam. All this is surrendered to it. Ejat prana nimishacha yadejat atha sadasadvarenyam param vijnanad yad varishtam prajanam. It is beyond the manifest, beyond the unmanifest. It winks not. It is close, it is far. All these things are used only to drop mediated knowledge, to drop the functioning of mind and intellect. The mind and intellect has to resolve itself in Atma itself. And thus we see that over here in this section, yad archimad yad anubhyo anuhu. It is smaller than the smallest. Archimat, it is self-effulgent, it is luminous. Yasmin loka nihita lokinascha. And all the denizens of all lokas. What does loka mean? A field of experience is called loka. That's all. The field of experience of human beings, this becomes a manushya loka. A field of experience of a cockroach becomes the cockroach loka. And each yoni has its own particular niche in which it finds itself. And our Shastra says that not only is there a loka over here on the Bhuloka, as many 84 lakh different organisms, that many field of experiences, but not only these, but the higher and the lower worlds, they all exist within this Paramatma. Tadetad aksharam Brahma. This alone is Brahma. It is aksharam, imperishing, absolute. All this, saha pranaha tadvang manaha tadetat satyam amrutam tadamrutam. This alone is truth. This alone is, there is nothing other than that. Tad satyam, that is the absolute truth. Now 3 and 4 mantras we saw that this particular 2 mantras are upasana. Now that all this is Brahman, how am I to process it? So an upasana is given of pranava. Pranava, omkar. Om, 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 continuously. And how should it be? And the simile of the archery is given. There is a bow, there is an arrow, and there is a target. So let the target be none other than Om. Om, absolute Brahman. This absolute truth, now that I have learned about Tadetat Satyam, this truth which is beyond name, beyond form, beyond manifestation, beyond unmanifestation. All these ideas have to be continuously repeated, and the bullseye is this Nirgun Brahman, the quality-less, the nameless, the formless absolute, and the arrow is the mind which is to be delivered, and the holding of that bow is the firm grip of the intellect of the knowledge of the self, and the firm grip is ever focused on this bull's eye. And in this way, release this mind. Mind is a symbolic representation of the jiva which experiences duality, that let all dualistic experiences come to an end by allowing the mind to merge with the Nirgun Atman itself. So the bow, the arrow, and the goal, bullseye, the Omkar, and that is what is Pranavo Dhanu Sharo Hyatma Brahma Tad Laksham Uchyate. Pranavo Dhanuhu. Dhanuhu, the bow, Pranava, Omkar. And what is that? It's the firm grip of the intellect that this alone is. The bow of the intellect is Ota Prota in Omkar. That buddhi doesn't think of anything but Om, Om, Om. Everything has come to an end, and thus it is said, it is the bow of the Omkar, and it is the firm grip which is there. Sharo Hyatma, the individual Atma over here is none other than Mana, mind. Brahma Tad Laksham Uchyate, and Brahman is the very goal. Apramattena Vedavyam. Apramattena Vedavyam, without any error. So the buddhi doesn't flicker. The buddhi in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna talks about a lamp which is placed in a place which is devoid of wind. So the flame burns and it looks as though the flame is a fake flame. There is absolutely no flickering. That is the apramattena vedavyam. Over here it is said without any error, without any flickering of the intellect, hold this truth, hold this idea of Omkar, Vedavyam, and pierce. Release that self, let the buddhi release the mind, the lower self, and let it pierce the Om, Brahma Tad Lakshya, the goal of Brahman. And this arrow becomes one with it. It explodes into the absolute. Please don't think that Brahman is a tiny little dot which is to be pierced. It is a symbolic upasana over here. It is all pervading self. So that individual mind, it literally explodes, and the entire boundaries created by the limitation, brought about by the limited vision, is erased, and that mind becomes sarvagata. Sharavat tanmayo bhavet. That was that. Yasmindyo prithvi chantariksham otam mana saha pranaischa sarvaihi tamevaikam janatha atmanamanyat anyavacho vimuncha athamrutasyesha setuhu. So we did this? We haven't done this? Okay. Yasmindyo prithvi chantariksham ओतं मनः सह प्राणैश्च सर्वैः तमेवैकं जानथ आत्मानम् अन्यावाचो विमुञ्चथा अमृतस्यैष सेतुः Yasmin, and when that buddhi releases that mind, and the mind is nothing but all types of oscillations, when that mind becomes boundaryless. What is this boundaryless self? This absolute self, Yasmin, in that absolute. Now, before the mind and the buddhi were looking at the earth, looking at the vayu, looking at the sun, the moon, the stars, and the entire created world. Now when that same mind which is experiencing the world, that experience is completely erased. It is not the experience of the plurality, but it finds the plurality within itself. Inside itself it finds, oh, in me exists Yasmin Dhyauhu, this entire heavenly worlds above, Prithvi, and all the field of experience over here, the Prithvi itself, cha antariksham, and the intermediary worlds and everything. So the heavens, the intermediary world, and this, the Bhu Bhuva Suva Vyahruti, is typically taken as a triputi, and it is also taken as the experience of the jiva going and coming to different worlds. So the highest world is taken as Dhyau, the heavenly worlds. This Otam manas saha pranaischa sarvaihi. Otam, ota prota, it becomes one with it. It dissolves itself in that, and it sees inside the three worlds dissolved. The three worlds get dissolved in the mind itself. Earlier it was the mind which had the experience of plurality. Now it finds that the pluralistic world is dissolved in the mind itself. It realizes that the pluralistic world is a projection. And that is how it understands that Otam manaha saha pranaischa sarvaihi. And the pranas are none other than the modification, and all different types of modifications brought about by this limited vision. Everything comes to resolve in it. Sarvaihi tam, that tam eva ekam janatha. Come to know this one absolute. Come to know this janatha atmanam. Come to know this one self. Which one self? That one self which is a support of everything else. And other than that, anya vacho vimuncha. This is another great sadhana which is given, that anya, other, vacha, plattering, none other than the mental concepts. Give up all other mental ideas, give up all other mental concepts, give up all other mental blabbering. Whatever you listen from others, other than this one self, everything else is just nothing but some modification of speech and anya vacha you give up. So giving up of other philosophies, other ideologies, other ideas, other sadhanas, give up everything else and hold on to this one sadhana of uniting yourself with the higher. In this way, leave all other empty talks about lower knowledge, because this higher knowledge is amrutasya setuhu. It alone is the bridge. Which higher knowledge? The higher knowledge of Omkar, which you are holding on to as the bow. That bow becomes the setu, it becomes the bridge. You are over here holding the bow and the target is over there away from you, and this Omkar becomes a setu, a bridge to cross across this world of change, samsara, this world of all types of duality. You have to cross across. And again, it is as though, because don't literally think that Brahman is far, and then don't literally think that I have to cross across some ocean. Crossing across the ocean is anya vacho vimuncha, giving up of the notional distance created between me and Brahman. I am Brahman, but there is a notion that I am a jiva, that I am such and such person, that I am going through these experiences. So the notion created jiva bhavana give up, and crossing over that notion is the setu, is the bridge. You cross across this vast ocean. What is this ocean? It is a notion, and crossing over that is over here considered to be amrutasya setuhu. It is a bridge which bridges us to the other side. Yasmin akshare purushe dhyau prithvi cha antariksham cha otam samarpitam manassaha pranai karanaihi anyaihi sarvaihi tam eva sarva ashrayam ekam advitiyam janatha janita he shishyaha. So Shankaracharya ji says, he shishyaha, O students, plural he's used. So what is it you have to do? Yasmin akshare, in this absolute self, purushe, which is the uttama purusha, this absolute self, this uttama purushe, dyo prithvi antariksham otam, in this self alone, this whole pluralistic world of change, all this is in the self itself. Both the vyashti, the individual, and the samashti, the totality as well as the individuality exists where exists in the absolute. But since it is the student, he shishyaha, he is referring to the individual being. O student, your individual experience of that self, lower self, you dissolve into that higher. Otam samarpitam manascha saha, and main thing, offer that mind, buddhi, pranaihi, karanaihi, and all the equipment. Karana, this equipment of BMI, offer the whole equipment over there. Karanaihi, anyaihi, sarvaihi, tam eva sarva ashraye. Offer everything. Advitiyam, non-dual self. Janatha, it's an injunction he uses. You come to know. Janitaha, he shishyaha. Atmanam pratyag swarupam yushmakam sarva praninam cha jnatva cha anya vacho apara vidya rupa vimunchataha paritajyataha tat prakashyam cha sarvam karma sasadhanam. He says, Atmanam, the self, with self, Pratyagrupam, the very innermost self, the innermost self-luminous self. Pratyagatmam meaning it is the innermost. It is beyond the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, and Ananda Atma. Anandamaya Kosha is the avyakta prapancha. It is still kosha. It is a kosha of this darkness. What is this darkness? In there are rudimentary tendencies. Every day when we go into this deep sleep, we enter this Anandamaya Kosha. It is not Ananda Atma. But when a yogi goes to sleep, the yogi in this deep sleep is actually the samadhi avastha of union with the turiya, and that ekam atmanam pratyagatmanam yushmakam, and which is in you, and not just you, sarva praninam, each living being. That innermost self is the same. Cha jnatva. Come to know this. Come to know this. Come to abide in this. And anya vachaha. And other than that, other than this knowledge of the self, apara vidya rupa, all the lower vidya, all the lower vidya meaning any concepts, ideas other than aham brahmasmi. You give up all these, whatever people say, whatever different philosophies. Today somebody wants to do this, tomorrow they want to do this. Nothing is going to happen if we keep on changing ideas, gurus, vidya. Today Advaita, tomorrow Vishishta Advaita. It doesn't work that way. We have to take this one path, anya vacha, meaning stay put on this one path and give up everything else until you unite yourself. And apara vidya, everything is lower. In fact, this Upanishad also is apara vidya. Only the mantras, the identity revealing aphorism, sutras, what is written is apara vidya, but what it indicates is para vidya. So apara vidya, it is said, even drop the Upanishad, go beyond it. Learn what is supposed to be learned from it, and don't become fanatic. That is the glory of Hinduism, that it can accept the absolute, and the path which has delivered, I salute that path, but I don't become fanatic of it. Somebody may take this Upanishad, somebody may take that Upanishad. For somebody, it can dawn from within and they can take on to this mantra. So, give up all fanaticism, apara vidya, rupa, vimunchatah paritajyata tat prakashyam cha sarvam karma sadhanam. What is indicated by all this apara vidya is the absolute and param sadhanam. The absolute sadhana you take sarva karma sasadhanam. In all karma that you do, let that be sadhanam. Let each action be a cause for you to move higher. Don't pick and choose. Everything that you do should lead to that, and that is yataha amrutasyesha setuhu etad atma Jnanam amrutasya amrutatvasya mokshasya praptaye setu iva setu sansara mahodyate. It is as though setu riva setu, he is saying it is as though bridge. Don't think that you will have to cross a bridge. That is what Shankaracharya ji is saying, that it is as though crossing over the notion is the setu, basically. Giving up of all the notions. Continuing, next mantra. Ara ivarathanabho samhata yatra nadyaha. Sa esha antascharate bahudha jayamanaha. Om ityevam dhyayatha atmanam. Svastivav paraya svastivav paraya tamasaf parastat. Svastivav paraya tamasaf parastat. Ara iva rathanabho. Rathanabho, the very center of the wheel of the chariot. The chariot has a wheel, and the wheel has all these spokes which are united in the very center. So Rathanabho, the very center of the wheel of a chariot, Ara iva, and all the spokes. Ara, the spokes which are united in the center. Yatra nadyaha samhata. In the same way, this body, the gross body, within this body there is a center, and that center, in that center exists the presence of the self, the pulsating self. What is this self? It is the consciousness. Now, it is again, a simile is given. Don't literally think that there is a place in the body where the Atma is pulsing. So what is said is, in this Vyashti, the casing in which the Jiva Bhavana exists, take the Jiva Bhavana, the individuality, and unite it with the Absolute. But how are you going to do that? So a simile is given over here, that just like a chariot wheel, the center portion is what holds the entire wheel, and everything, the outside perimeter of the circumference of the outside perimeter of the circle of the wheel is united with the spokes. In the same way, the outside Jiva Bhavana is actually connected to the self. And how is it connected? Through these very sukshma nadis. Even though the physical body is a gross body, the mind and the intellect are subtle. So the subtle is united with the gross, and within the subtle exists the very spark of consciousness. The cave of the intellect harbors that conscience, and that is connected via these subtle nadis. It is said that we have some 74 lakh nadis in our body. There are 14 main ones which spring forth from the Mooladhar. This is in the Yoga Shastra, it is said. So we don't need to get into all those, but over here it is said that there are Nadyaha, a plural is used. Nadi singular, the Nadyaha. There are so many these subtle channels in which the pulsating awareness ever expresses I am, I am, I am. So, sa eshaha antascharate bahuda jayamana. This absolute, which is the self of the universe, and within this self exists the whole universe, but it is inside, from inside this eshaha, this absolute self, antascharate, it moves about. It moves about within charate bahuda jayamana. In very many ways, this self expresses itself. The first and foremost way it expresses itself is aham, aham, aham. I am, I am, I am. And now when it is said bahuda jayamana, that I am modifies itself as I am a man, I am a woman, I am rich, I am poor, I am educated, I am uneducated. So all modifications of the jiva starts from I am. And in very many ways, the I am expresses itself in the Vyashti. That Atmanam, that Atma which is I am, that Satchidananda Swarupa which exists as I am, Atmanam Om iti evam dhyayatah. You take that I am, and in this Ma, you come to resolve all various experiences of I am rich, I am poor, I am educated, all those things. You resolve those of Jagrat, of Swapna, of Shushupti, Ma. Those are the three states in which the jiva expresses itself as an individual. In Jagrat Avastha, it is a Jagrat experience. I am such and such person. I am going through such and such experience. So, the Jagrat Avastha has a Jagrat experience. The Swapna Avastha has a Swapna experience. The Sushupti Avastha has a void of experience. Even the void is experience. So all three of them come to know in Om as Ma, and you resolve the whole thing into the Anuswara as I am. Silence, silence, silence. This is actually Upasana. This is the Upasana talked about over here, that Atmanam, in that self, Om iti evam. In this way, dhyayatah. May you come to meditate. May you come to meditate what? The resolving of the experiences, the dualistic experiences. You suspend all of them in this Omkar. In this way, you come to meditate on that swastivav paraya tamasaf parastat, and in this way swastivaha. And the guru of the Upanishad, the teacher of the Upanishad, Angirasa Rishi, who is teaching to Shaunak, he says swastivaha. He is giving his blessings, benediction. Best unto you, swastivaha. May you vaha yushmakam. Second person is used. The teacher uses second person towards the student. Vaha, you seated over here, it is my blessings. Swastivaha, and then tamasaf parastat paraya. He says tamasaf, the ignorance. What is the ignorance? Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti. And the ignorance of a mediated experience born out of the equipment of the Jagrat Avastha, experience born out of the equipment of the Swapna Avastha, and experience born out of ignorance, deep sleep state. All three of these, it is called tamasa, ignorance. Waking experience also ignorance. The dream experience also. So tamasa of the darkness, the experience born out of the three states, because over here Om iti etat, Om. So the Om is a symbolic representation of the Turiya, the fourth state. But fourth as opposed to what? The three lower ones are Uma. And then when the Pranava comes to an end, it is that silence. Into that you merge the sound of Uma. The sound of Uma is none other than an experience. Sound which is created where? By whom? With what? That is called Triputi. I, the object, and the experience. So the Triputi, the triad of experience of the waking, the triad of the experience of the dream, and the triad of the absence of equipment, which still results in a knowledge. Aham kimapi na janami. I don't know anything. But who knows nothing? It is the self who even objectifies ignorance. Presence. So in that presence, silence, you resolve everything. Tamasaf parastat paraya. Paraya, you cross. You go beyond. That is Shankaracharya ji. Araivarathanabhau samarpita ara evam samhataha sampratishtaha yatra yasmin hrudaye sarvatah deha vyapinyo nadyah tasmin hrudaye buddhi pratyaya sakshi bhutah sa esha prakruta atmanam atma antah madhye charati vartate. Again he is saying the same thing, that the innermost self moves about in the manifested equipment through these sukshma nadis. Antascharate, within it illumines the individual equipment. The individual equipment, vyashti. The student is only interested in himself. The student now has understood the world is illusion. Now it is only sadhana, Brahma sadhana. So what is roaming around within, just like, and he is giving an example of the chariot wheel, that everything is connected to the center. In the same way, in the center, the presence, everything is connected. Pashyan shrunvan manvanaha vijanataha bahuda anekadha krodha harsha adi pratyaya jayamanaha. So what are the experience of the jiva? All that is talked about. Pashyan, seeing; shrunvan, hearing; manvanaha, thinking, concepts basically is what he is talking about. Vijanan, knowing, that is buddhi. So pashyan, shrunvan, manvan, vijana. So the experience, like I talked about, the experience of the waking state, experience of the dream state, all those have to be connected. And then anekada, and seeing and thinking and conceptualizing, what does that create? It creates a gamut of inner experiences. What are the inner experiences? Krodha, anger; harsha, joy; adi, and he says you add whatever else you need to. Pratyayaihi jayamanaha, born out of all the various tendencies. I see something and somebody may see the same thing. In there is no modification, but in me, anger. How does that happen? Because some tendencies, looking at it, create. So all these various modifications, jayamanaha iva, jayamanaha antakarana upadhi anuvidya vidyaitat vadanti laukikaha hrushtaha jataha kruddhaha jataha iti. By this antakarana. What is antakarana? Mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. So he uses antakarana because all four are included. Mana, buddhi. What is chitta? Memory. Memory, all this, where does it come from? All that which is stored. And ahankar, the individuality, owns up my equipment, my experience, all those things. So antakarana anuvidyaitatvat. Again and again it comes to ascertain its individuality. Anuvidyaman, meaning again and again I assert my ego, I assert my experience. So you resolve all these things. Vadanti laukikaha, such the worldly people go through all these things. Hrushta jataha, joy has arrived. Kruddha jataha, anger has arrived. All these things have arrived where? In this Nagar. Puram is Puram of equipment. So all that you resolve. Tamatmanam om ityeva omkara alambana santaha yathokta kalpanaya dhyayatha chintyata. You resolve everything in this omkar, like I explained, it's same thing. Uktam vaktavyam cha shishyebhyaha acharyena janata. This has to be known from an acharya. Acharyena janata, come to know this from a teacher. This teacher, uktam, the spoken by the teacher, uktam vaktavyam, what is to be heard, you hear that. Rest, you drop. What the teacher says, what is important to be heard, you hear that. everything else you drop. Uktam vaktavyam cha shishyebhyah, O students, acharyena janata shishyascha brahma vidya vividishu, the ones who are desirous, vividishu, desirous of ones who are desirous of Brahma Jnana, Brahma Vidya, Vividishuhu, tu Annivritta Karmanaha Moksha Pathe Pravruttaha. You turn away from everything else and stay on this path of moksha. Again and again, teacher reminds that stay on this path of moksha. Don't get sidetracked. That is what he's saying. In this world of Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, there are a lot of alluring experiences which will take you sidetrack. Don't get sidetracked in this world. Do whatever needs to be done, but primary focus, Brahma Vidya. Stay on this moksha pathe pravruttaha, on this path of moksha. Pravruttaha, you stay enjoined on it. Tesham nirvignataya brahma praptim asha asti acharya. And the acharya feels that on staying on this path of Brahma Vidya, there are a lot of obstacles. Lot of obstacles in terms of so many alluring things which diverts the attention of the student. So the teacher has a vested interest that the student should reach. Because of that, swastihi nirvignamastu. That's why Shankaracharya ji says that a true teacher teaches and blesses the student. That may you be blessed, may you reach the goal. It is not that the teacher secretly keeps something and does not teach. The teacher has given everything, sakshat aparoksha anubhuti, with the blessings, that I am revealing everything to you, I am opening up the gateways of blessings to you. Paraya parakulaya. Each one of us has a kula, gotra and all these things, lineage. It's like, let this be the kula. Let this be the absolute gotra. Omkar. You become one with his. Parastat kasmad avidya tamasaha. So, for what are you holding on to this lower avidya? Go beyond, go beyond. Why are you suffering in this world? For what have you? It's a rhetorical question he is presenting to the student to create greater jignasa. For what are you holding on to this lower? Give it up. Go higher, go higher. Avidya rahitaha brahmatma swarupa gamanaya ityarthaha. Go towards the higher. Avidya rahitaha, devoid of this ignorance. Brahmatma swarupa. Atma eva Brahma. I and that self is one. Brahmatma swarupa gamanaya. Go towards it, go towards it. Gam dhatu, to go. Is there a literal going? No. The going is of the going of the mind. What is the going of the mind? Acceptance of that and giving up all other. That is the going over here. Please don't literally think you have to go to Kailash or Vaikuntha or something. There is no such thing. From Brahma Vidya, Kailash, Vaikuntha is all over here. Actually, the definition of Vaikuntha, Vigata Kuntha Bhava. Giving up of duality is Vaikuntha. That is the absolute Ityarthaha. So now, Apara Brahma Tatha Parabrahma. Now, juxtaposing the two together is the next mantra. It is a very beautiful mantra, mantra number 7. In one mantra, he gives a beautiful upadesh that we will see Thursday. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.